Good evening to you. They stole more than £2.5 million worth of perfume, alcohol, cigarettes and electricals destined for duty-free. Now a gang of Gatwick Airport workers have been jailed for a total of 35 years.
It was their job to load planes with the luxury goods, but were caught on camera filling plastic bags and helping themselves on an industrial scale. Martin Dowse has our report.
Their job was to load passenger planes with goods to be sold in flight. But here are two members of the gang, Richard Beaumont on the left and Cesare Kozabutsky on the right, caught on CCTV loading bags for themselves in a conspiracy to steal from their employer on a massive scale. In total, just under £2.5 million worth of cigarettes, alcohol, perfume and electrical goods were stolen in this way from Gatwick Airport during a 7-month period in 2013. When it was seized, the evidence filled a room.
It was basically one night shift team that were all working together. They may have stolen with different people on different nights, but they all knew what was going on and they all worked with each other. So this was very well planned, very well organised, and they're all involved.
Sussex police uncovered the conspiracy and arrested 15 people on the same day at addresses mainly in Sussex, Surrey and Kent, but elsewhere in the country too, with 80 officers involved in the operation. These are 12 of the gang, all convicted at Lewes Crown Court of conspiracy to steal and money laundering. Their jail terms ranged from 2 to 4 years. In total, 35 years of prison time was handed out to the gang, who were as organised and as brazen as they were greedy. Martin Dowse, ITV News.
In other news, 3 men who robbed a jeweller at gunpoint in Winchester have pleaded guilty. They stole more than £200,000 worth of items from Justice Jewellers on Parchment Street in April and held a gun to the owner's head. The men, in their 20s and from London and Hertfordshire, were caught by police when their getaway van got stuck behind a bin lorry.
There was one gun, and it was mostly in my face or by my head throughout the process. And I opened the safe, emptied the safe into the bags that they had. Unfortunately, they'd chosen to rob us on a Friday, which is bin day down Parchment Street. So the getaway van got stuck behind the bin lorry and the armed response were all over them.
The death of an elderly woman whose body was found alongside her husband's at their home on the Isle of Wight is now being treated as murder. A post-mortem has found Jean Irwin, who was 83, died from neck compression. She was found alongside 77-year-old John Irwin at their home in Shanklin on Monday. His death is not being treated as suspicious.
Rail companies could be fined if their trains are more than a minute late. At the moment, services can be 5 minutes behind schedule before they are penalised. Just 65% of trains are currently on time.
In less than 13 hours, the polls open for the EU referendum.
And on the final day of campaigning, Remain and Leave big hitters spent much of the time they had left here in the south appealing to the voters.
With more, here's our political correspondent Phil Hornby.
You wait all morning for a campaign bus and 2 come along at once. The Remainers in Oxfordshire, the MP for Witney on home soil. The Leavers in Portsmouth. A whistle-stop trip through the shopping centre for Surrey Heath MP Michael Gove.
Hello. Nice to meet you. How's it going? I think it's going very well. I think we're getting lots of nice support from people here.
Discussing the hottest of political potatoes.
We need to do something about immigration. We'd like our country back.
A lot of people here in Portsmouth think if they vote Leave, migration will fall. That's why they're voting for you. Will it really fall? By how many? Give us a number.
Well, if we vote to leave, we can take back control of the numbers who come here. It will be up to the British people to decide. I think one of the great things about leaving the European Union is that it will be up to us to decide how many people we want to come here, what skills we want them to have, and also how many refugees who are fleeing persecution we want to give a safe haven to.
So vote Leave and immigration could go up?
Vote Leave and immigration will be controlled by the British people in the interests of this country and in the generous spirit that's always characterised Britain.
And from the Prime Minister, a final appeal to voters.
We've got the Green Party, we've got the Liberal Democrat Party, we've got the Labour Party, we've got a Conservative government and Prime Minister, we've got the trade unions, we've got business, large and small, all saying we are stronger, we're safer, we're better off if we stay. Stronger because if we leave, we'll diminish our country and our ability to get things done in the world.
And with that, the talking stops. The politicians and their buses have done their work. Now it's up to us. Phil Hornby, ITV News.
Well, the academics say age and education are two of the biggest hints of how we'll vote in the referendum.
Yes, experts believe that older people are more likely to vote out on Thursday, younger, university-educated people in.
Andy Dickinson sends this report from Sussex.
Brighton and Bognor Regis may not be that far apart, but it seems when it comes to the EU referendum, they're polar opposites. Brighton reflects the vote of young people firmly in the Remain camp, while here in Bognor, with its large population of retirees, they're far more likely to vote Leave. But is it really that simple? How are you going to vote in the EU referendum?
Out, purely because of immigration. It's out of control.
I think I'm likely to sort of stay in, and I'd like to support the Prime Minister. And also, I think the language of the Leave people has been outrageous.
I'm going to be voting out because I think the government of the country are being too lenient with how many immigrants they let in from other countries, and they're pushing our infrastructure to the limit.
Geoffrey Walker is a retired businessman and an organiser of the local Leave campaign.
I'm not saying there are too many immigrants, but there are probably enough. And people see that these increasing numbers coming each year, that's not likely to change. We're optimistic and we're very positive in our campaign, and we believe that leaving the EU is not a negative step, it's a positive step. And very likely and very quickly after this referendum, we believe the British economy will improve rather than go backwards. And that is the difference, I think, between the two campaigns.
With a large Polish community in Bognor, what then was the view from the EU supermarket?
I spoke with many people, English people, because I worked with them, and they said they should to go off, go out, but for me they should to stay.
They can vote, but I believe that I cannot make much change, so I'm not interested in voting. Let them decide, let the other people decide whatever they want.
Meanwhile, in Brighton and Hove, the Ellis family are passionate Remainers.
Fundamentally, it's about coherence and about democracy across Europe. It has made us a very prosperous nation. And so why break something that's working?
We're not producing enough mathematicians, scientists, engineers. That's why we have to bring them in. And secondly, we're not giving apprenticeships for the electricians. So the problems are actually here at home. They're not to do with somebody else or the EU, and also the safety factor of being part of a larger group. Don't forget, Europe is about as much as looking after people who are not doing so badly. If one country is not doing so badly, the system is designed to feed funds through to help that. So we shouldn't be looking at this rather selfish attitude of what's in it for me, because one day we actually may need some help. And there's 27 other countries there who are kind of duty-bound to help us out.
In Bognor, the displays on parking meters have a Polish translation, for some a sign of European integration, the way English alternatives are used on the continent. For others, maybe a step too far. What messages these two holiday resorts are left with on Friday remains up to us all. Andy Dickinson, ITV News.
Sangeeta, do you know what I say?
What do you say, Fred?
I say vote, vote, vote for Simon Parkin and hopefully a decent weather forecast.
From blizzards to pool, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Well, brace yourself for what could be a tricky night for some of us. There is a Met Office yellow warning because we're going to see some heavy thundery downpours developing through this evening. You can see they more affect the south and east, but some of them will creep into our region, and there is a risk of some localised flooding because there could be an awful lot of rain falling, and by rush hour tomorrow morning it might still be a bit damp for some of us. That said, a lot of dry weather, particularly the further north and west you are, and through tomorrow there'll be a decent dry spell for us all. Some good sunny spells, temperatures a bit mild and muggy, 20 21 the high, before the next lot of showers get going tomorrow evening, and the Met Office weather warning stays in place until Friday morning. As for your high tide times, well, you can see in Bognor around 1:30 in the morning, 5 to 2 in the afternoon.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Keeping a close eye on summer. The Pollen Count, sponsored by Ilogy Eye Drops.
Well, you know how it goes at this time of year. In the best of the dry and fine weather tomorrow, we will see grass pollen levels up to high, but any showers will see them drop. And it's the same plan as we head through the weekend too.
And a shorter programme from us this evening because of Euro 2016 football. But in just a moment, we've got the ITV Evening News with Mark Austin and Mary Nightingale.
St Peter's got our news, but for now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thank you very much indeed for watching. Take care.
See you later. Bye-bye.